operation, organizational maintenance instructions. Section 1 operative with the organizational maintenance of the tool and equipment. The special tools and equipment. No special tools and equipment are required for the operating organizational maintenance personnel for the maintenance of a welding machine. 3.2 basic issue item, basic issue tool and equipment. The tools and repairs are issued by the authorized for the welding machine are listed in the basic issue item list for the appendix B of this manual. Section 2, lubrication. General lubrication information. No lubrication is required for the welding machine. Section 3, preventive maintenance. To ensure the welding machine is ready for the operation at all times, it must be inspected with the automatic systematically with the discover the corrector before the result of the series of damage or failure with the necessary preventive maintenance service performed that is listed with the described in paragraph 3.5 and 3.6 of the item, the number that indicate the sequence for the minimum of the inspection requirement of the defect for the discovering during the operation of the unit shall have to be noted with the future correction to be made as soon as possible. Operation will cease. Stop operation immediately after the deficiency noted during the operation would cover the damage of the equipment. After the operation will continue, the deficiency shortcoming will be recorded together with the corrective action taken with the DA Form 2404 equipment inspection maintenance worksheet as early as possible. Proper opportunity. 3.5 daily preventive maintenance checks for the paragraph contained with the illustrated tabulated with the preventive maintenance checks services must be performed with the operative of the item of the number that is listed with the consecutively and indicate the sequence of the minimum inspection requirement of figure 3.1 for the daily preventive maintenance check services. 3.6 quarterly preventive maintenance check services. The paragraph contains the illustrated with the tabulated list of the preventive maintenance services which must be performed organizational maintenance personnel at quarterly intervals. The quarterly interval is equal to 3 calendar months for the 250 hours operation, which occur for the item number that are listed for the consecutively indicated with the sequence of minimum inspection requirements referred to figure 3.2 for the quarter, the preventive maintenance services. All right, preventive maintenance services daily. 1, screen. The screen, clean and dirty screens. 2, the ground terminal. Check with the proper ground terminal. The proper ground terminal consists of the 3/4 inch diameter hollow rod, 3/5 of an inch diameter solid rod. It's 9 feet long with the enabled for the number 6 AW gauge copper wire bolted for the clamp to the rod with attached for the ground terminal over the welder set. And also 3 would be your control with the inspect of the damage loose mounting with the opening with the check for the proper operation, determine the minimum the maximum back of each of the day. No operation. During operation, observe for any of the unusual noise and the vibration. Preventive maintenance check services quarterly. 1 is your fan motor. Fan and screen. To clean the dirty screen with the tight and loosen the motor fan with the fan mounting electrical connection. Play with the replay with the defective motor or fan. Number 2 is your contactor. The contactor, tight and loosen mounting electrical connection, replace with the defective contactor. 3 would be your ground terminal. Check for the proper ground with the proper ground terminal with the consist of the 3/4 inch diameter, hollow rod 5 inch diameter, solid rod with a 9.5 feet long with a cable with the number 6 AWG copper wire bolt baited or clamped to the rod and attached for the ground terminal to the welding set. Also, 4 would be your solenoid valves and fittings, tight and loosening mountings, electrical connections, replace with the defective valves or fittings. 5 with the control, show with the 5 is a control, and replace with the damaged control, tight and loosening mounting with a unit with the operation, check for the father proper operation. Note 1, cleaning blow out the machine with an air hose with a minimum of 40 pounds, maximum 75 pounds. Note the operational test during the operation, observe the unusual noise and vibrations. Note number 3, make sure the necessary adjustments during the operational testing. All right, Section 4, Operational Maintenance. General. The instruction for this section was published for the information from the guidance for the personnel with the responsible for the operation maintenance for the welding machine in addition with those listed in paragraph 3.5. 3.8, the turn control. Turn the welding machine off, the rotate with the counterclockwise, the stop with the counterclockwise, the stop each day with the preventing corrosion, keep the contacts clean. 3.9, cartridge fuse. Refer to figure 3.3 for the removal of the install of the cartridge fuse. Figure 3.10, plug fuse. Refer to figure 3.3 for the removal of the installation of the plug fuse. Figure 3.3 show the warning of the disconnect the free power with the fuse before replacing the fuse. Use the fuse puller to remove the receptacle, replacing the fuse, the cartridge A, fuse, and B. Plug fuse, turn the counterclockwise to remove move and counterclockwise to replace. Disconnect the power, warning, disconnect the power before replacing fuse, plug fuse, You show the grill, the top, the removal screw, the remove the screw 4, the remove the screw 16, the access door, the back panel, the removal screen with the side panel, the note, the remove of the other side of the panel, similar metal, and the welding machine, the top of the housing, removal of the insulation. All right, moving on number 2, and the lock washer number 2, but from the inside of the panel, from the remove of the screw 2, inside of the door, remove of the screw in the front of the door, assembly front door, assembly, removal of the insulation. Section 5, troubleshooting. 3.11, the general. The section provided the information for the diagnosis of the correcting unsatisfactory operation of the failure of the welding machine with the component with the trouble system, the state of the valve, listed the probable code of the trouble, the possible remedy, recommended, described the opposite of the probable code of the trouble beyond the scope of the organization. The maintenance should be reported, directed, and support maintenance. Show the contactors open, reset the contactor for the power switch, defective, replace the switch, control the transformer fuse, replace the fuse, open. 3.13, cooling fan does not operate. The probable cause of lead broken terminal, repair the Titan, repair Titan Titan terminal fan motor defective. Replace the motor fuse F2 is open. Replace fuse 314 fan assembly noise. Mounting hardware loose. Tighten the hardware. Fan blade loose. Tighten the fan blade set screws. Figure 5 315 gas and fish fit. Inline fitting with the obstructed with the clean line with the fittings. Sound defective. Replace solenoids. 316 water insufficient. Lines fitted with obstructed, clean lines and fittings. Solenoid defective. Replace solenoid. 317 welding machine operated erratically. Spark plug improperly adjusted. Clean adjust screw with adjusting spark plug gap connected to CR1, CR4 defective. Replace and contactor CR1 and CR4. 318 remote control does not function properly. Wire loosened and receptacle tightened. Wires receptacle defective. Replace receptacle. Remove the control switch. Remote contactor control switch defective. Replace switch. Remote amperage switch defective. Replace switch. 319 contactor brake circuit with the thermostatic switch is defective. Replace switch. 320 high frequency operative. Defective fuse F3 with replace switch. Spark gap properly adjusted. Clean adjust spark gap. Defective contactor. Replace and replace contactor. All right, Section 6, Field Expedition Repair. General, operating with the organizational main with the trouble may occur while the welding machine is operating with the field where supply of the repair are not available. The normally corrective action cannot be performed with the condition found with the expedition. Repairs you for the emergency, you for the decision, you for the commander. Equipment is so required with the remove of the operation for the possible the proper repair with being placed in the operation. 322, loss of water, proper fitting crack. Trouble, expedition remedy. Tape the crack pipe at the fitting until the defective pipe at the fitting can be replace. 323, reduction of the high frequency output. Trouble, the failure with the high voltage capacitor evidence for the appearance of the melted ceiling with the material of the oil leakage. Expedient remedy, reduce the spark plug gap at the point with the 4,000th of an inch until the defective capacitor can be replaced. 324, power failure with the contactor broke with the defective expedient remedy to provide jumper wire around the contactor until it be replaced. Section 17, the welding machine tools and the hose, housing, doors, and panels. 325 general with a welding machine over the housing with a truck with the heavy metal over the top of the side of the back housing in front of the housing section contained the information for the maintenance of these components that can also never use under any circumstance for the operating of the welding machine on the top of the housing removed additional with the safety hazards and proper cooling may result in the damage power transforming of the welding components. 326 the welding machine top of the housing. Refer to the removal. Refer to figure 3.4 for the removal of the welding top machine. Refer to figure 3.4 for the removal of the welding machine side. Refer to remove the fan miter with the guards assembly with paragraph 3.5. Refer to figure 3.4 for the remove of the rear of the housing. Insulation. Refer to figure 3.4 for the install of the rear housing. Install the fan motor with the guard assembly. Refer to paragraph 351. Refer to figure 3.4 with the install of the welding machine side. Refer to figure 3.4 with the install of the welding machine. Front door assembly. Refer to figure 3.4 with the remove of the welding machine top. Refer to figure 3.4 for the remove of the welding machine sides. Refer to figure 3.5 with the remove of the door assembly. Installation. Refer to figure 3.5 with the install of the front door panel. Refer to figure 3.4 with the install of the welding machine sides. Refer to figure 3.4 with the install of the welding machine top. Section 8, fuses, switches, timers, remotes, receptacles, general. The on and off push button with control of the power of the welding machine. The high frequency switch with 3 positions. Start with continue with an off with the start position with the high frequency introduced with the welding circuit only with the start with the weld position only usually with the gas tungsten and does the arc and the DC arc of the welding continues position with the usually with the gas tungsten arc welding. High frequency will be introduced welding circuit that does not entirely welding operation. The high frequency switch should be placed in the off position when used with the metallic arc stick electrode welding process. The automatic manual switch is set with the automatic gas tungsten arc spot welding. The welding timer is used with the control of the spot with the welding time interval. The desired adjusting from the obtained 0 to 3 seconds with the time the most post flow gas with the water valve. Timer control of the length of the time of the gas water will continue with the flow of the arc that has been broken with the timer here. Should it be set with the gas flow with continue with the sufficient length of the time allowed with the tungsten to cool point where it will no longer be contaminated with exposed to the air with the time is setting with usually 10 seconds over the each with 100 amp of the welding current be used. The start switch is circuit is the new position with the switch provided with the starting control. The current control with located behind the low front access door. The switch located labeled the start circuit with the in and out with the provided with the in operative with the selecting with the connection start connection control circuit with each with the either and out welding circuit with the place with the switch and the in position connects with the starting control circuit and the welding circuit with the place with the switch with the out position removed with the welding circuit with the welding control circuit with the starting adjustment controls labeled the increase and decrease the U with the control wiring arc with the starting the weld the starting circuit with the consists of the timely delay components which allow allow the present with a starting current with a flow of approximately 35 to 40 cycles for 2/3 of the cycle of the time, and the delay of the air will be automatically changed with the control of the welding control adjustment control to avoid burn through over the light gauge metal. The start adjustment control switch should be set with a counterclockwise direction lower setting with the welding current. The welding current is near the zero with the instant range may be well with the change the range switch near the next lowest range setting with the low range available with the high heavy gauge metal with the full clockwise and higher welding current setting with the recommended with the higher starting current is required to preheat the metal of the beginning of the weld. Caution: do not operate the welding machine with a standard remote switch with the remote position with the remote controls plug with the receptacle through the head with the caution was stated above with the damage of the switch from the A and or DC control coil. Move the remote control plug with the remote control amp receptacle with the welding machine. The operation with the switch from the remote position will have the same inverse effect. With the figure 3 and 29. Power switch. Remove the top of the right side panel figure in the welding machine figure area 326. Refer to figure 36 for the remove of the power switch for installation. Refer to figure 36 for the install of the power switch. Install the top and the side panel for the welding machine. Refer to paragraph 226. Figure 330, for starting the remote switches, remove the top and side panel from the welding machine. Paragraph 326, remove the figure 37, remove the standard remote switch. Installation, remove figure 37, install the standard remote switch. Install the top and side panel with the welding machine. Figure 326. 331, high and frequency switch. Remove the top and side panel with the welding machine. Figure 326, paragraph 326. Refer to figure 37. Remove the high frequency switch with installation. Refer to figure 37 with install of the high frequency switch. Install the top and side panel on the welding machine. Paragraph 326. Figure 36 for the power switch and installation. Show the tag of the disconnect of the electrical leads and required move of the screw, the starting adjustment power switch. Note the removal switch from the rear of the panel and primary. Alright, also you have your V37, the standard remote with high frequency manual auto switch removal of the installation. Remote amper control switch and the remote move the nut, remote control switch, remove the nut, and then remove the nut and manual auto switch, remove the nut, frequency, high frequency switch. 332, manual auto switch. Remove the top and side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326, refer to paragraph 37 for the remove of the manual auto switch. For installation, for the figure 37, install the manual auto switch. Ensure the top and side panel with the welding machine. Figure 326. Paragraph 333, start the circuit of the paragraph, start circuit of the switch. Remove the top and side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326, refer to figure 3A for the remove of the start circuit switch. For the figure 338, install the start circuit switch. Install the top side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326, 334, fuse receptacle. Remove the top and side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326. Remove the figure 39 with the remove of the fuse receptacle. Installation. Remove the figure 39 with the install of the fuse receptacle. Install the top side with the panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326. Figure 3A, show the starting switch, removal of the installation, no tag, the tag and disconnect electrical lead, the necessary start switch, and remove the nut. Figure 3.9, show that the first receptacle, remove the installation, remove the receptacle from the rear of the panel, fuse receptacle, remove the fuse, remove screw, and lock washer 2. 335, spot welder timer. Remove the top and side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326, refer to the figure 310 with the remove of the 5-frequency timer. And be installation with the figure 310 with the install of the high frequency timer and install the top and side panel with the welding machine. Figure 326 for the 336 for the gas, water, and time. The remove of the top and side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326 refer to the figure 310 remove of the gas and water timer and installation. Figure 310 with the install of the gas, water, timer and install of the top and side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326. 337, contactor controls receptacle, remove the top of the side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326, with the remove of the figure 311, the remove of the control contactor receptacle, with the installation from figure 311, the install of the control control receptacle, and install of the top side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326. 338, remove the amperage control circuit, remove the top of the side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326, refer to the figure 311, the remove of the remote amperage control receptacle with the install of the refer to figure 311, install of the remote amperage control receptacle, install of the top and side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326, remote control. 339, main contactor, remove the top side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326, refer to figure 312, and with the remove of the main contactor installation. Refer to figure 312 with the install of the main contactor, install of the top and side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326, show just show the 310 the time and the removal of the insulation. No tag of the disconnect with electrical leads. If necessary, loosen the set with the screw, remove the point of 2, remove the screw 6, spot weld timer, remove the screws 4, and lock washer 4 with the post flow timer, and also figure 340 with the relay with the contact, remove at the top of the pan with the welding machine. Refer to figure paragraph 326. Refer to figure 313. Remove the relay contactor installation. Refer to figure 313. Install the relay contactor. Install at the top of the welding machine. Paragraph 326. 341, transformer through amount of static switch, remove the top side of the hand with the welding machine. Paragraph 326, remove the paragraph figure 314, remove the thermostatic switch, installation refer to figure 314, install the thermostatic switch, install the top side panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326. 342, receptacle thermostatic switch removal. Remove the top of the handle with the welding machine. Pick up 326, further figure 315 with the remove of the thermostatic switch on the rectifier. Install the installation, further figure 315. Install the thermostatic switch on the rectifier. Install the top handle with the welding machine. Paragraph 326. Alright, 311, show the control, contactor control, remote amp control, receptacle removal of the installation, the don't tag of the tag and the disconnect with the leads are necessary, the remote of the amp control, receptacle remove the screw with 2, with the contactor control, receptacle remove the screw with 2. Figure 312, the main contactor removal of the installation, note the tag and disconnect lead necessary, main contactor, and the nut 3 and lock washer 3, Figure 313, relay control, removal of the installation, tag and disconnect electrical leads, and necessary remote screw through with figure 314, transformer thermostatic switch, removal of the installation, note thermostatic switch blade from the loose between the transformer and the wire, the wrap switch and the tape before installation, tag and disconnect the wire lead to thermostatic switch. Alright, 315, rectifier thermostatic switch for the removal of the installation. Show the note the tag and additional electrical leads the necessary thermostatic switch from the cemented to the rectifier plate with thermostatic switch, tag and disconnect the wire lead. Alright, section 9, spark plug gap assembly with the voltage chain with the bar at the ground electrode terminal board. The 343 with the primary purpose of the spark plug with the gap assembly stability with the high frequency. The purpose of the voltage chain with the is to allow the welding machine to operate with a 208, 230, and 460 volt with the current chain with the bar with the ground cable, electrode cable, the terminal lugs are connected with the brass nut for the side of the ground electrode terminal board. 344 spark gap assembly. Refer to figure 316 with the remove of the spark plug with the install gap assembly. Installation figure 316 with the install of the spark gap assembly. Adjustment. Refer to figure 316 with adjusting of the spark gap. 345 voltage change bar removal. Remove the two securing screw with the raise of the voltage change bar with the access door with the rear with the welding machine. Refer to figure 317. Remove the voltage chain bar. The installation. Refer to figure 317. Install the voltage chain bar. The clove of the access door. Replace the two securing screws. 346 ground electrical terminal boards removal. The top of the side of the panel with the welding machine. Paragraph 326. Refer to figure 318. Remove the ground electrical terminal board. Installation from figure 318 with install of the ground electrode terminal board, install of the top side of the panel with the welding machine, paragraph 326. Show the spark gap assembly, remove the socket with the head screw, with the remove of the two nuts, tube, washer, two, and screw tubes, set spark gap at the points, remove the socket and head screw. Adjustment, loosen the socket head screw with the step 2, insert with the 8 thousandths of an inch feeler gauge between the spark gap points. Step 3, push the points snug at the end of the gauge to adjust for the gaps. Step 4, tighten the socket of the head screw with the gap that's correctly with the feeler gauge drag with slightly with the pass between the points. 317, voltage change bars removal. The voltage chain bar with tube, the voltage chain bar with the remote, the nut with the lock, loosen screw with the disconnect with the powers before removing the voltage change bars. 318, ground electrical terminal boards, removal of the installation. Note, the tag of the disconnected electrical lead is necessary. The warning, disconnect the power before removing the stud of the board. Remove the screw, lock washer 2 with the terminal board, the electrode terminal stud, the work terminal stud. Remove the nut 3 within the stub, remove the electrical terminal board and stud is similar in the manner. Alright, section 10, gas and water solenoid valve. The 347, the general, with the gas solenoid valve is used by the operator with the performing the inert gas well. The solenoid valve is operated electronically through the timer control. The water solenoid valve is used with the water cold torch is used, and the water solenoid valve is operated electrically through the timer control. The 348, the gas solenoid valve, refer to figure 319 with the remove of the installation of gas solenoid valve. 349, refer to figure 319 with the remove of the install of the water solenoid valve. Figure 319 shows the gas and water solenoid valve removal of the installation, but disconnect the gas and water as stored for removing before removing the valve. Disconnect with the electrical leads. The gas solenoid valve remove the screw and two washers. 2. Remove the water solenoid valve in a similar manner. Section 11, the ventilating cooling system. General, the welding machine is cooled with the fan motor assembly with the operator at the top of the primary with the control for the transformer, the 3 blade with the pull with the through air through the welder and out of the back ballast resistor of the mount within the fan guard. That can be cooled by the air that passes through them to make the repair with the fan motor blade with the garter to make repairs of fan blade with the guard complete with the assembly must be removed. Figure 351 with the fan motor with the guard assembly. Remove at the top of the side of the pan with the welding machine. Pick up 326 with the reverted figure 320 with the remove of the fan motor with the guard to completely disassemble the reassemble the figure 321 with the disassemble the reassemble the fan motor and guard assembly. Installation figure 320 with the install of the fan motor with the guard assembly. Install of the welder top of the side pan with the 326 the fan motor with the 350 motor with the remove of the fan motor with the guard assembly with figure 351. Refer to figure 321. Remove the fan motor. Installation refer to figure 321. Install of the fan motor. Install the fan motor with the guard assembly. Paragraph 351. 351. Alright, this shows the remove the screw of the fan motor guard and assembly, and the remove of the nut for and lock washer for and the screws for. Note the tag of disconnect electrical leads if necessary. 353, the fan. Remove the fan motor with the guard assembly. Refer to figure 321. Remove the fan with installation. Refer to figure 321 with the install of the fan. Install the fan motor with the guard assembly. Paragraph 351. 354. Fan guard. Remove the fan motor with the guard assembly. Figure 351 and refer to figure 321. Remove the fan guard. Install relation. Refer to figure 321. Install the fan guard. Install the fan motor with the guard of figure 351. I show the screw, the number 4 of the screen with the van key, set screw, and the lock washer nut, the washer nut, guard motor screw number 2 and 4, and balance resistor. All right, section 4, direct general support depot maintenance instructions.